Hello everyone, my name is WINENJIRU and welcome to Conversations with WINENJIRU. What we do with this segment or this series is to try and talk to wine professionals, mainly in East Africa but now going around the world, and hear their stories. I know we're geniuses, people think we're really special, but at the end of the day, we're just normal people who enjoy our jobs very much. Can you see where I am today? We're here in Franschhoek at Rupert and Rothschild, and we're going to be talking to the winemaker of Baroness Nadine and Baron Edmund, Kayla. Thank you so much for having us. We've had such a nice session with you, taking us through your cellar, talking about your philosophy, showing off all your new toys, and of course taking us through the wine tasting. But I was really surprised that this facility only makes 3 wines. So you have the 2 that you make and Classic only, which we know very much in Kenya. How does this come about? What kind of decision led to this?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely having your group here and just tasting and chatting to all of you. So thanks as well for coming to Rupert and Rothschild, choosing us as one of your destinations. Well, if you look at the brand in terms of how can we only make 3 wines, the brand, since its inception in the late 90s, they wanted to focus on terroir-driven wines and also pay homage and respect to the French owners, the Rothschilds of Rupert and Rothschild. And so it was decided that we would just focus on the 3 wines, 2 of which are Bordeaux blends, red blends, and 1 which is a wooded Chardonnay. And the reason behind it is to focus and have attention to detail and rather be experts in the field of these 3 wines, as opposed to create a large portfolio where the brand is not really known for anything and there's a little bit of cloudiness in the vision of the brand. So it's really from a quality and a focus point of view, and then also just bring in the French heritage of focus.
So the wine estate is 50-50 French, South African French.
Yes,
or is it
that's
French
good.
South African?
Because whichever way you look at it.
And then again, it's not by chance that you're located in Franschhoek, which is the French corner within South Africa as well.
Yes.
Do you speak French?
Je m'appelle Kayla. I have just a little bit there, but not too much. I've done a harvest in Bordeaux, but I wasn't there for long enough to really pick up too much French.
And there's no pressure to learn it at all, not to worry.
Not at the moment.
Okay, so most people expect winemakers to be older men. So I was quite surprised when I came here, because it's a big brand and big names, to find you. And I'm not saying I'm disappointed at all, but then it's lovely to see that women are taking up these roles and they're participating to build big companies, right? So please tell us about your journey. Were you born into wine? Do you live in Cellar, therefore it was just a natural step for you?
I grew up in the Cellar region, so I was definitely exposed to vines and cellars and wine. My father's also in the wine industry and he has been for a number of decades. So for me it was quite an easy transition. And I think that the way in which he brought us up, my sister and I, was also very much respecting and having an understanding for wine. And so the real appreciation and the aspiration behind a glass of wine really grew for me, and I was curious to know more about it. I was a little bit confused in high school. What should I study? Should I put my feet in the water and see if winemaking is for me?
Yes.
And I did it, and it just felt like quite an easy match. And not easy, but a well-suited
match. And I mean, you are in the ecosystem, so really there's a supportive environment, there's resources.
Yes.
The university was very close to you.
Yeah.
I can't imagine myself coming to Stellenbosch University to study wine because it's quite a distance, right?
Yes.
And I guess the cost difference as well.
Yeah. And also just having the opportunity on weekends to be able to taste in one of the most incredible wine growing regions in the country and also in the world, and exposure to iconic brands. And I think that way you can really gain an understanding of wine and also learn more and more. So I was very privileged and blessed in that sense to grow up in the region I live.
Okay. So what did it entail to get qualifications to be able to undo this job?
So Cellar University offers the degree, and it's a Bachelor of Science in Viticulture and Enology. So your first year is quite a general BSc, you do physics and all sorts of things. And then as the years continue, it's a 4-year degree, you become more and more specialized, or your subjects become more specialized in that direction. So there's soil science, plant pathology, There's of course microbiology and the biochem behind winemaking, and a lot of tasting. And then in your 4th year, you do a 6-month internship on a wine estate.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so I was very fortunate to be placed at an excellent wine estate and learned a lot from my mentor over there. And you do an experiment, and through that practical experience that you gain, it really just solidifies what you've learned then in the classroom.
Okay. So I've done WSET and I've been educated for Kenya level 1 and 2.
Excellent.
I attempted to do my level 4, but then it's a 2-year.
Yeah.
It's a 2-year commitment that's very expensive, and there's a lot of tasting there as well. So I'm kind of conflicted because of, one, my age is advanced. I should have done this when I was 20 or something. And then just the return on investment, even though there's a lot of people taking WSET in Kenya, I may have to work abroad. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Maybe I will do that, maybe I won't, but then how lucky you are to be able to make this other choice and was able to get into the industry right away. We talk about challenges in work, generally speaking. You know, it's influences of technology that's making us have to learn new skills. There's, you know, gender issues. I don't know what kind of challenges you faced sort of in your journey as a winemaker. Or has it been, you know, just the usual, I'm good, I love my job, I'm ready to go, I'll be doing this for 100 years?
I think that, if only, I think that if you look at the South African wine context, you look at the 2 universities now, there are a couple that are also coming very much to the forefront, but it's mainly Cellar University in Elsenburg.
Elsenburg. That's also here in the Western Cape?
Yes, that's in the Western Cape, and it's also a Bachelor of Winemaking, Cellar Technology, which you can go and study. And both of which are really reputable institutions, and they produce each year 40 plus winemakers. And if you look at the wine estates, they're not 40 plus wine estates every year which are coming into the fourfold. And as we spoke about earlier, many winemakers stay for a number of years, especially if you're producing red wine, to one, gain an understanding of your terroir, your cellar facilities, the brand, the style, and also to hopefully see red wine which you've made yourself 5-6 years time come onto the market. So there's not much movement if you compare it to the amount of students which are pumped out every year. So one really has to work very hard and have a point of difference about yourself in terms of work ethic, focus, discipline. And I think that is a challenge in our industry. And I think that a lot of winemakers who graduate end up going into different spheres of the wine industry. So perhaps soil, yeast, nutrition. So in that sense, there's also quite a lot of opportunity to broaden your horizons, not just winemaking. So that also gives young students or graduates the opportunity to still continue in the wine industry, but have the opportunity to still get a job, albeit not winemaking.
Sure.
But that is definitely a challenge in terms of saturation. And I think that's a global challenge.
It's a global challenge, yes.
Which would be faced by many graduates.
Okay. So do you feel that you have to earn, say, Cape Wine Master or Master of Wine to be better at your job? Or is it more about the products you're putting out to the market and perhaps the awards you're winning and the recognition from a product point of view?
I think it goes, there's it hand in hand, because you can always learn more. You can always taste things that you've never tasted on a global scale. You can learn techniques in the cellar, analysis, connections in the wine. So there's so much room for growth in terms of the winemaking, viticultural sphere. But I think that if you look at what you just mentioned in terms of
the WSET, Wines and Spirits Education and Trust Qualification.
Yes, yeah, and whether it's worth it to go that route. I think that once you've really honed in on your practical experience, that is something that one should look into. But I think that getting practical harvest experience is critical. But there's always room for growth.
For growth and improvement. I was quite impressed by your facility. There's lots of use of technology. You've talked about optimizing the labor. You're really, really excited when you talk about your, what was it called, fjord? The big egg shape. The foudre, and the 7 eggs, and of course your barrels and all these machines. I mean, it's amazing to see how bright you came alive. Not just about the wine we're going to taste, but you made me want to go and learn about science and
look inside the food there.
Food and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess you're really privileged that way, and what an experience for us. Now there's lots of Kenyans coming into South Africa, and they are visiting the winelands, and of course there's over 700 options for them to go to. Why should they come to Rupert and Rothschild? Whether they'll meet you or not, I think we're very privileged that we got to meet you, but I know you're not always accessible to the public because it's a hospitality and tourism center, is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah. But why should they come here?
I think that the minute they enter the gates of Rupert and Rothschild, they will have a lovely experience, and I think that for us it's very important that the client or the customer that enters feels part of the brand home, that you feel one with the brand, there's an understanding and also a focused approach, right from the gardens to the security guard entering you in as you drive through down Lovers Lane with all the beautiful oak trees.
Very nice.
And when you park, you're greeted by a tasting room ambassador. They'll sit with you, explain the wines, there's an international portfolio. So I think that there's a point of difference in terms of attention to detail and focus at Rupert and Rothschild.
Sure.
It's very important for us that the customer or the client feels part of.
Okay.
And that they are partnered with the brand as opposed to just looking in on or visiting the brand.
So when you land in Cape Town International, this is the first place you should come. We have Baroness Nadine in our glasses.
Yes.
Maybe as we close off, tell us the story behind this wine and why we should drink more of it. Are there any bottles left for us to buy?
there are a few. Good thing I'm harvesting grapes. Chardonnay is starting in next week Monday, so the production is coming in every year.
But book now, it's on allocation only.
So this is our 2022 Baroness Nadine Chardonnay, and as I explained in the cellar too, it's mainly from cool climate area, which results in a lovely slow ripening with fresh acidity, more of your citrus, lemon, lime style fruit. The press cycle is a very gentle press cycle, so as to not extract too much from the skins, but more of a delicate palate.
Yes.
And the barrels, it's fermented for 10 months. It's fermented and then aged for 10 months in French oak and also the Foudre. All the barrels are blonde or light toasting.
Okay.
So for us, it's very important that the grapes, the raw material, really shines through in all three wines. The Classique, the Baron Edmund, and the Baroness Nadine Chardonnay. So really to respect the fruit that has been harvested and the terroir shines through for us. So you will get quite a lot of fruit character. The thyme and oak with the light toasting gives you a little bit of spice, a bit of the nougat, almost the creamy palate.
Yes.
Almost your toasted almond shavings, a little bit of a brioche. I almost get a slight oyster shell, bit of salinity. And then on the palate, due to the cooler climate, you get a lovely fresh acidity. So it's more of your linear style, but with a lovely concentrated and long finish.
Delicious, delicious, delicious. and I mean, I don't have to feel like a baroness to enjoy this. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your energy. We learned a lot from this visit. We'll definitely be back to enjoy more of your vintages. Wish you the best with the 2024 harvest.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.